I want to show you guys a brief clip where and I find this very bold, she went into the hot seat. She was on Dr. Phil, where she was critiqued over her stance on CRT. We'll play that briefly, and then we'll dive into the interview with Kali. Check this out.
You looked into what was being taught, and you said you were surprised.
I was surprised, because when you hear the term ethnic studies, you think, oh, maybe we're going to be learning appreciation for other cultures. But what I saw in the class was very different, and my students were failing.
You spoke out
Yes.
because you thought it was too what?
It's just from start to finish, it has this hyper race focused narrative throughout the whole lessons. I mean, like I shared that they were given a privilege quiz on day 5. Why are we doing this when we have a literacy crisis in America? And why are we taking time away from traditional subjects and making sure that they're doing this hyper race focused class in 9th grade?
So you thought it was divisive.
Yes.
And you spoke out about it.
Yes, I did.
And started getting harassed.
Oh, yes. That I hate myself, that I'm a white supremacist. And it's not just once. It's every single day since I've been speaking up against this.
Threats of violence.
Threats of...
That was, I mean, for you to go on that interview, I think that speaks to your character. You're not somebody that's just making noise, but you were ready to go and sit in that hot seat and be face head on. We cut the interview short, but there were some questions that were asked of you in there where things got a little bit intense, I felt like, from some of the people in the audience, some of those questions. Did you feel like the people they chose to question you during that were pre-chosen and directed towards you?
So that was a lot scarier than I thought it was going to be, because normally when Dr. Phil does those type of episodes, he has a panel of people. I mean, even when Candace Owen came on to the show, she had like Amala with her, who's another Black conservative. There was Ty, who's like a Black conservative comedian. And I think there was Dinesh D'Souza's daughter. I forget her name. But she had 4 people with her. It was me and an audience against that was in favor of critical race theory. So I was not expecting that. That was terrifying. In fact, since then, I have stepped back on taking big interviews like that. It was hard. It was very hard, but God was with me. And I definitely believe that the producers planted a lot of people in the audience that were in favor of critical race theory. In fact, there was a point in the episode where he asked who's in favor of critical race theory, and the whole audience raised their hand except for about 2 people. And I was like, okay, I'm in some enemy territory. But to be quite honest, I haven't been the same since that interview. That really,
I mean, you handled yourself very well. I will give you credit for that, because
and that's kind of sad to say. I don't think I could do that again. And I'm trying to find that strength again. That's why I'm wearing your shirt, freedom over fear, because I was for 15 years a public school, middle school teacher and high school teacher, mainly middle school. That's what I love to do. That's where I'm comfortable. I was not ever had a desire to be on TV or have a big social media following. None of that. I really loved what I did as a teacher. And this last 3 years, I've been doing so much stuff that's outside of my comfort zone. And I'm 41 years old. Like, I'm not a young chicken anymore that can change easily. So to have all of this, these interviews and all this hate and all of this, it's been really hard. In fact, you guys are one of my first interviews back. I'm starting to say yes to interviews again. And I took an 8-month break.
Wow. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to come on, and when we connected at AmeriFest, you mentioned God, so I'm going to bring this up too. I really feel like that was God's divine connection, because I had messaged you on social media 6 months before.
Yeah.
And I had totally forgot. I was working out in the gym at 5 a.m. I'm in Arizona. I live in Florida. I'm in Arizona. And you happen to be in Arizona the same time I am. And we connect. And we were able to meet face to face and meet each other, see the genuineness in what we're doing. And your authenticity was just so raw and real. And like I said, I've been an admirer of you online and everything you've been doing. For you to be able to come on, I really, really value and appreciate your time for that, Kali.
Absolutely. Well, I think that everyone is doing something different than what they were doing 4 years ago, 3 years ago. We're all kind of outside of our comfort zones because America is outside of we don't even recognize this country anymore. I don't. I'm seeing the country that I love falling apart, and I'm seeing the children that I love being destroyed by these agendas by the left. And I don't think we have the time to just, not do anything about it. We all need to do something about it. And I also believe that Satan is on a mission to take out those of us that are on the front lines. And I felt that this last year because I was really
Yeah.
on the front line, and then I took a step back, and that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I need a lot of prayer, but Satan is really trying to attack those of us that are on the front lines and distract us and get us, involved in something else, or involved in our own problems, or attack our health. So it's very important for people like you and I to take care of ourselves.
No, and I couldn't agree more. I had a video when 2 years ago, if you told me I'd be doing this, I'd tell you you're absolutely nuts. I never had the idea that I would have a t-shirt brand, or I'd be connecting with people and speaking out about these things, because it wasn't so much in our face. It wasn't, but I'm the same way as you. I'm 38 years old, and I see the America that I grew up in, the America that's blessed me with the opportunities over opportunities. And I've made mistakes in my past, but I still had these opportunities to come back and right that. And I see those opportunities being taken away from my daughters. I have two that are 6 and 8 years old, and the destruction is happening. And if we don't stand up and stand up now, we're not going to have a nation to stand up in. I truly feel that in my core. It's a spiritual battle, but I also know that when we unite and come together and put God in the middle of it all, amazing things happen. So this country isn't lost, but it's going to take each one of us doing those uncomfortable things, inviting God into the center to guide us through this all. I had a video that went mega viral. I mean, MSNBC News played it at 8:30 at night on their show, where I talked about the symbolisms on children's clothing. I was wearing my God Made Man and Woman shirt, my very first design. And I can relate to you with the death threats and the hate and the evilness that people pushed at me. And it paused me for a little bit. I continued on, but then it started getting more and more. And I was like, God, am I really supposed to be doing this? Am I going at this in the right way and mannerism? Because I know we need to stand up for this, but it was like that pushback. So I can relate to what you just went through, not to the level you did, but the same things. And but we have to. At the end of the day, we have to continue on and know that God has placed us on this mission for a reason.
Well, think about what happened during the when God rescued the Israelites from slavery from the Egyptians, and there was the 10 plagues, and
Mhm.
God, and there's a verse that said God hardened the heart of Pharaoh. Well, the hardening of the heart was actually showing him his power and showing him, hey, this is. I think that we need to be antagonists right now to really show what these people believe, and that has been the last 3 years. I think things have been really revealed on what is evil and what is good. Things used to be
Mhm.
kind of gray. There used to be a lot of gray area in our beliefs, and now it's kind of like, all right, this is pretty clear that this is evil. This is clear, like, for example, abortion. And now the Satanists are admitting that abortion's a ritual. And so they're trying to
Mhm.
protect their abortion ritual in states that are trying to outlaw it, right? And make it so that you can't have abortions past 6 weeks or something like that. And now Satanists are saying, you know what, this is one of our rituals. Well, that makes it very clear that abortion is evil, right? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
for some people, it wasn't very black and white. They didn't really know whether or not it was evil, especially some Christians. I know some Christians that are switching
Mhm.
their views on that, because before they were brainwashed into thinking it had to do with women's rights or whatever, and women's
Mhm.
health care, and now they're realizing, wow, this is truly evil. So I just think right now is just a sifting time, and God is exposing a lot of what's going on. And there's some people that are there to be the warm and fuzzy and embrace all of the Christians that are the new Christians that are coming in, or the people that are leaving the left and embracing God and Jesus and love and light. And then there's also some people that need to be on the front lines and exposing the darkness. And it's
Yep.
not an easy place to be, but if God's calling you to do that, you need to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love you shared this story of the Israelites and the plagues, because after that, they're led out of Egypt, and they wander in the desert for 40 years. And then when they get to Jericho, right, and they have to walk around, they're walking around together, 7 times, quiet as can be. But in order for those walls to fall down, they all yelled and make a lot of noise all together at the very same time. That's what
Yes.
brought the
Yeah.
walls down. And that's
Mhm.
where I feel like we are at right now, is God has called those people, those warriors that know the truth, that see the spiritual battle, that know that abortion is feeding Moloch, the god. It's the same as it
Yeah.
was at the beginning, it is that today. You know, this confusion, this ideology of falsehood, this false teaching, the changing of definitions, the confusion that they're pushing on the youth, you know, on everybody. So I think we all have to yell about it as loud as we can, because when we do that, God's going to answer and those walls are going to fall down. I believe that in my core.